Hi, you guys. I want to try this out on you today. Have you ever thought about constructing your own version of Unnamable God? Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Susan. I was born clairvoyant. I had a near-death experience in 2017, which clarified my spiritual journey, and now I mentor other awakening women. And this video has to do with my experience while merged with the energy we know of as God. That energy cannot be named. It's infinite. It's unnameable. It goes by a zillion different names, but you guys know what I'm talking about. And during my near-death experience, I merged with this energy and was completely submerged, almost like a tea bag in a mug of tea. And we had an exchange. It was not with words, it was telepathic. And God presented like blazing golden rays of light. That's how God presented to me. So I was in my astral body, I suppose, and just completely submerged in these blazing golden rays. And we had the most sweeping, cosmic, ginormous exchange that was just as intimate and detailed. Both ends of the spectrum at once, at the same time, without words. It was so beautiful and very hard to describe, so I hope I'm doing an okay job. But this is what I want to propose to you all. Before I had my near-death experience, I've been on this spiritual path intentionally for more than 20 years. I was born psychic, so I've been living in this world for 44 years, but about 21 years ago is when I started intentionally studying and learning and finding teachers and seeking to deepen my abilities. And before this near-death experience, I would have told you that I thought God was a loving energy, a loving force. But although he was a loving force, he was vague. That God was a vague yet loving energy. That's how I would have described God to you the night of my near-death experience. And when I had this experience and merged with that prime energy and had this exchange, my mind and my perceptions of everything shattered completely. I had no concept of what is now my most foundational belief, which I know can sound quite catalyzing or controversial, but being submerged in this energy, my new primary core belief is that there actually is no separation, that I am not any different from what we call God, that we are capital O, one and the same. That I am God-informed, temporarily embodied, and temporarily unaware, just like you are, no matter what. And I say no matter what because I felt the qualities of this energy. And that's what rearranged my belief in God. To feel how intimately God knew me. That's precisely what opened my eyes to my core belief of each one of us being God-informed. I was raised in a religion where everything was hierarchical. God was the top of the totem pole, and he was also quite punitive. And this energy that I was immersed in, I hesitate to call it love, because love as we know it down here is so complex, it's so shaded, it's often transactional, and I mean that very lovingly. I even mean that with my children. I've said this before, but if one of my children murdered somebody, I would still love them, but it would definitely change things for me. Our emotions can't help but bring a transactional nature to every relationship. So I hesitate to call this God energy love, because it's not the kind of love that we know on earth. It is a 100% pure. And this is going to sound weird, but because it is so pure, it's 100% impersonal. That's how pure the love is. One of my detailed memory bubbles while being submerged and emerged and exchanging with Source, one of my exact thoughts was, I could have just murdered 10 people. And I'd be greeted the exact same way. Just like a tree gives shade, a tree does not judge the character of whomever steps beneath its branches. A tree offers shade to Mother Teresa or Jeffrey Dahmer. It doesn't matter. And that's how God felt to me. So it's hard to put that into words. I hesitate to use the word love. And the word I usually use is freedom, because that's what it felt like to me. And it took me a couple of years afterwards to understand why freedom. But it felt like freedom because that's what truly unconditional love feels like. That's true unconditional love. And it did feel like freedom above all. This is me. I wrote for about 3 days straight after this experience, not wanting to forget a single detail and trying to wrap a mind-boggling experience in the English language. That was a very hard task to do. But I'm so grateful I was diligent about it afterwards. And honestly, I didn't need to be, because I viscerally remember it as if it happened yesterday. But my question to you is this. If you do believe that God is infinite and all-loving and all-knowing and all-powerful, whatever attributes you use to define your version of God, I'd like to propose you define your version of God even more personally than you already do. I find that so many of us have leftover ingredients of what we think God is. And they could be remnants from our childhood, or from our religion, or from pop culture, or from our parents. But I'd like to challenge you to question for your own self, to go within, to close the doors to the opinions of everyone else, and really ask yourself, what does God mean to and for you? Disregarding everything else but your own intuition. That's my challenge to you. I hope you'll take a chance on it and give it a try. It will only make your relationship with God more intimate than it already is, more meaningful, more genuine, more authentic. And wouldn't you want to have those qualities in greater quantity when it comes to your relationship with Source? So think of it like a salad bar. Take what you want and leave the rest. Try it out. Maybe you'll have to go back for seconds and scrape some of it off your plate and take something else on instead. But give this a try and see what happens, see what comes of it. I love you all, and I'll see you next week.